There we go. Yes, it sounds like me. There it goes. Checking it out. It is today's Tax Talk. I'm your host. Like I was telling you, I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. It is Tuesday, December 20th, the year of our Lord 2022. They're talking about, I never know what the government's up to. We can never follow them. They're talking about regulating crypto. Now someone wants to talk about banning crypto. Is that even possible? Anyway, that's what we're going to talk about today. Won't you join us? Yes, it is. Anyway, but it is Crypto Tuesday, as we know on Tuesdays. We always start on Crypto Tuesday with the look at the markets. So let's begin there. Here's at our favorite site, coinflip.tech. Coinflip.tech. And so here's the markets. There we go. Here's the markets. It's still going sideways. I took a bump over the last week with some of the news of the FTX and some other good news. Some was coming out, Binance and some others that may make it. And so it looked like there was a jump. So let's go back. Let's go down here and look at the 7 days for Bitcoin. Look at the 7 day. Well, it looked like it took a little bit of a dive. And as always, I would say Ethereum's right along, almost a mirror image. And, yep, there it is, almost a mirror image. Kind of going sideways. Took a little bit of I wouldn't say a dive, but a little bit of a dip. And so we're still in that range from 16 for Bitcoin, right, for 16,000 to 20,000. So anyway, that's where we are. Next, let us go to the story that I wanted to talk about. This is the Senate banking chairman says maybe to cryptocurrency ban. They tried to ban it in China. I don't think it went very well. And it's not going to go well here if they try to ban it here either. Because it's not really possible. You'll have all these offshore. Just trying to play with the volume there. You're going to drive everybody offshore. You can't ban it everywhere, and you can't ban the internet, can you? It seems like they're regulating it fairly much, or telling people what you could say on it. But I don't think you can. I don't think it's possible. Well, let's read the story and find out what Senator Brown has to say. Senator Brown on Sunday said federal agencies need to address the cryptocurrency market and maybe ban it after the high-profile collapse of cryptocurrency market FTX last month. I thought, they're going to start blaming this on crypto or blockchain, and neither one has anything to do with the fraud. It's fraud. Will regulation of the market prevent fraud? The answer is no. May diminish it greatly. I think it does diminish it greatly, but there's always platforms that get tagged for fraudulent activity and Ponzi schemes and the like. And none, they don't have to be big high profile like FTX or Madoff, right? There's a lot lower level, that doesn't involve all the elites. But they get schnookered also. Brown, the chairman of the Senate Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee, so not an insignificant gentleman, told NBC's Meet the Press moderator Chuck Todd that the Treasury Department and all the different agencies, we've talked a lot about that on the show, the commodities trading and the regulators and the SEC and all of now the IRS, right, and all the Treasury Department. All the different agencies need to get together and assess any possible action related to the cryptocurrency market. They've had how long to get to it? Now they're going to do it over a weekend? I don't think so. Maybe banning it, although banning it is very difficult because it will go offshore, and who knows how that will work. So he says he's going to think about banning it and then acknowledges it can't work. That can't work. The U.S. is seeking the extradition of FTC founder Sam Bankman-Fried after the collapse of his cryptocurrency market in November. As I think the latest news says, he's not fighting extradition anymore. I've read about the conditions in Bahamian jails. Not a good thing. A lot of rodents running around, and the violence is very real. So you'd be much better off in an American jail than a Bahamian jail. Bahamian, whatever. Federal authorities charged Bankman-Fried with taking customer funds and using it to fund a lavish lifestyle and investments in his trading firm, Alameda Research. Remember, he was the guy who, I drive this little junker car. I don't spend money needlessly, as he spends money needlessly. The collapse of FTX alarmed regulatory agencies and spooked investors, raising renewed fears about the future of the digital currency market. Last week, the Senate Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee held a hearing on the collapse of FTX, along with a separate hearing by the House Financial Services Committee. Brown on Sunday said the cryptocurrency market is a complicated, unregulated pot of money. This is the way senators are looking. It's a pot of money, and they want theirs. Of course, it's not their money, but not yet. So we've got to do this right, the senator said, adding that he has talked to the Treasury Department to do a related assessment across regulatory agencies. I've spent much of the last 8 years, and this is the scary part. I've spent much of the last 8 years and a half in this job as the chair of the Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee, Brown added, educating my colleagues and trying to educate the public about crypto and the dangers that it presents to our security as a nation and the consumers that get hoodwinked by them. So here's the guy who wants to ban crypto, and he's the one educating everybody about it. It's kind of scary, isn't it? Well, here's a good story about this, too, about FTX and the failure. Don't let FTX's fall discredit blockchain. I don't know. There are those who are trying to tie it, though, aren't there? Congress's frustration with the cryptocurrency industry was on full display last week when the House Financial Services Committee held a hearing to investigate the collapse of FTX. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are fed up with the fraud and malfeasance among crypto companies, making it all but certain that Congress will take action to regulate the industry next year. It was all but certain anyway. It's all but certain. Once the industry darling, Bankman-Fried, is now being charged with defrauding millions of investors out of billions of dollars. Last month, information came to light indicating that FTX and Alameda Capital, a venture capital firm also founded by Bankman-Fried, was commingling customer funds, leading to a run on the exchange and eventual bankruptcy. In the aftermath of the collapse, court filings and other watchdog claims that he misappropriated customer deposits to make investments, including the purchase of real estate and options trading. Only a fraction of XTX's assets have been secured by its new management, and millions of creditors are likely to experience a total loss. Lawmakers are understandably incensed and demanded answers about Sam Bankman-Fried, who is now the poster child for herbious and fraud within the crypto industry. Here it is. Representative Maxine Waters was one of the first to act. She acted by holding out her hand and taking money from him. Calling for Bankman-Fried to testify before the House Financial Services Committee, which she chairs. Bankman-Fried agreed to testify until he was arrested by the Bahamian authorities at the request of federal law enforcement. I saw Jonathan Turley, a noted attorney and commentator on legal matters, mentioning this. What prosecutors? Here's a man who is just going to testify in Congress not under oath, and he was going to freely give information which they could listen to and act upon. You don't shut a defendant up by arresting him if he's going to go out and start talking and telling people what happened, because everything he said is incriminating, could be incriminating. And instead, they went and arrested him, and he didn't get a chance to incriminate himself. I wonder why that was. Just think about that for a moment. Fortunately, Bankman-Fried is not the only individual capable of giving Congress insight into the collapse. FTC's new CEO, he could give him into the collapse. This Ray could give him information about the collapse, but not about how it got, about the crimes. That Bankman-Fried, every time he's opened his mouth and started talking to reporters or journalists or podcasts, has dug himself a deeper hole. Let him dig the hole deeper, but no, they arrested him. Ray has seen his fair share of corporate malfeasance, but never in my career have I been such an utter failure of corporate controls at every level of an organization, he told the committee. Many members of the committee used this opportunity to criticize the crypto industry and blockchain technologies as a whole. Representative Jesus Garcia, Democrat, Illinois, I'm from Illinois here, so, opined FTX isn't an anomaly. Its collapse isn't the case of one corrupt guy stealing money. It's about an entire industry that refuses to comply with existing regulations, that thinks it's above the law. Another representative went further. I really don't get the point of blockchain and cryptocurrencies, other than if you're a terrorist or someone who wants to hide money. Can you believe somebody would... Reports that the Department of Justice is also weighing the possibility of filing charges against Binance, another major crypto exchange, and its CEO, CZ, as they call him, for money laundering and criminal sanctions violations only exacerbates the industry's image on Capitol Hill. With numerous pieces of legislation already circling in the halls of Congress, the FTX collapse and possible fall of Binance makes it more likely that lawmakers will take action to regulate cryptocurrencies and other blockchain-based technologies next year. They've been talking about it for all 2022. They talked about regulating it. So that's not new. Unfortunately, the understandable outrage at FTX also increases the likelihood that Congress will miss the forest for the trees. The collapse of FTX was clearly caused by corporate malfeasance, hardly a crime unique to crypto. That's always my point. It is appropriate that Ray is managing the restructuring of FTX, since its collapse has been compared to that of Enron. The difference here is that, in Ray's own words, the Enron fraud was highly orchestrated by highly sophisticated people, while the FTX fraud was an old-fashioned embezzlement and not sophisticated at all. Corporate malfeasance of this type can and should be handled through targeted regulation, establishing new transparency requirements for centralized exchanges, and clarifying enforcement authority over cryptocurrencies and stablecoins would go a long way towards preventing the next FTX. However, Congress must also distinguish bad actors and scams within the crypto industry from the underlying technology. Both the White House and Congress have independently recognized that blockchain technologies have enormous potential for positive innovation. Ironically, the transparency of public ledgers makes it easier for Ray and his team to track many of Bankman-Fried's activities. Imagine that. Transparency is always good. And the more we know what's going on, the less likely that these frauds can be committed. Ironically, in the hearing, several members praised blockchain-based technologies for their ability to increase the efficiency of transactions, ease legitimate cross-border payments, and establish novel organizational governance structures, among other things. There have already been cases of poorly drafted provisions creating more confusion than clarity for many stakeholders who build, operate, and facilitate the use of blockchain technologies. Any new legislation should clearly define which sectors of the crypto industry are being regulated and avoid sweeping generalizations. Now, as lawmakers move toward regulating crypto, they should avoid unnecessarily obstructing the innovation that so many of them appear to recognize. They don't recognize it. All they saw is that some guy was out there handing money to politicians, and they all took it. and now it's not their fault. Give the money back. I can't give the money back. We took it fair and square, so they're not giving the money back. So anyway, that's what that I think it's interesting that there's even talk that anybody would say, let's ban crypto. It doesn't make any sense. It just really doesn't make any sense. And they've been trying now for how many years to find a way to regulate it. They will regulate it, but they'll get it wrong. They always get it wrong. But we do need to protect consumers because that hurts the industry as a whole. But again, let's remember, cryptocurrency is not really an investment vehicle. Supposedly, it's a trading vehicle. It's a way to trade across borders without middlemen, and the banks obviously don't like that. But we lose sight of the purpose of crypto and its real meaning. In my own opinion. So anyway, that's where we are. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Remember here, I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. We need your help. I need your help to get this word out. So help us on that. Thanks so much. And also remember, if you have IRS problems, if you owe the IRS money, if you have unfiled tax returns, and you don't know what to do, so many of my clients they get paralyzed for years. They don't know what to do. Well, here's the first thing you should do. Get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problems Today. Go to freeirsbook.com. That's freeirsbook.com. Get your free copy. I'll pay for the printing. I'm going to ask you to pay for the shipping and handling. So go to freeirsbook.com. Get your free copy. So thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back here tomorrow, and I hope you can join us then. God bless you. Christmas season. God bless you. Out.